cite 1,000 other reviews that the machine has not, wines that the machine has not tested, because that's a true test. So this is from the test set, where the machine is trained on 125, and this is a new wine that the machine has not tasted, and let's see how it does, right? So the first row, that 84 is the rating, and you see the human review. The human review says this flushed wine has, we have here blended in with syrup. It's a pretty salmon color and has flavors of raspberry, peaches, and vanilla. Fully dry, will be nice with grilled salmon. So our transformer network, that's the second row, right? And transformer network is saying pretty dark for a rosé. See, it is smart enough that it is rosé because we are near, that's a white wine, and Syrah is a red wine. It knows that if you combine the two, based on all the other wines that it has learned on, it says, hey, rosé is not a bad choice. So it says not pretty dark for a rosé, and full body with cherry, raspberry, vanilla, and spice flavors. It's dry and with good acidity. And then what we did, we changed the rating. For the same wine, now we gave it instead of 84, we gave it 97. The rating is on a 0 to 100 scale. Look how the alignment changes. This is one of the best California rosés I've ever had. It's so dry, so rich in fruit, it's almost like a dessert wine, except it's totally dry. The flavors are enormously complex, ranging from cherries and raspberries to white chocolate, and the finish goes on and on. You know, I was quite flabbergasted when I saw this output. I said, how the heck is this doing it? And that's the power of a encoder, decoder, deep learning algorithm, which has this multiple layers where you are estimating thousands of parameters, and that's the, I would say, the simple word, that's the power of man. That is able to convert without even tasting it. Next slide. So in this next slide, what we've done is reduce the rating and see what it does. So this is at 90, the human review for the same wine. Golden butter salted bananas, intense tangerine, and peach and pineapple, custard and vanilla are among the flavors. Good at acidity, but so sweet and delicious. And look at the transform of the same wine that it does not taste it. If you're looking for a dry, crisp white wine, try this one. It's filled with citrus, peach, white flower, vanilla flavors with a rich, creamy texture and long, spicy finish. Very human-like, scary human-like, I think. And then we reduce the rating to 83. It says, well, there's not much going on in this wine. It's bone dry and acidic with lemon and lime flavors. So it's trying to learn that, if the rating is low, maybe I should give it a good review. Next slide. So what we have done in a truly Turing test, I don't know if you know, Amazon has something called mechanical Turks. Have you heard of that? Mechanical Turks are just, people like us who give their time for research in Amazon and they get paid for it. So we really wanted to do a Turing test. So I told my co-authors, let's test it out. You and I are feeling good about it, that these reviews are human-like. Let's do an actual test. So we recruited 500 Amazon and Turks. You see the median income is pretty high, and they're all online. Also, they're all online shoppers. They're familiar with online stuff. And we told them that we're going to give you each this profile. So what we did was we randomly, out of the 1,000 wines that the machine has not tested, we randomly selected 300 wines. So for these 300 wines, we have 300 reviews written by these humans, experts, and these 300 ones that are written by machine. And these are not in the test set, that means the machine has not seen these reviews. Alright? And then out of these 600 reviews, each of these MTurk person looked at 14 reviews, randomly selected 14 reviews. And we told them your task is twofold. One is allocate 100 points. We told them that hey, some of these reviews are written by human beings and some of them are written by machine. And we want you to be able to tell which ones are written by machine and which ones are written by human beings. And the way we want to do it is allocate 100 points. If you think a particular review is written by a human being, give 100 points to human being. If something is written by a machine, give 100 points to machine. And if you can't tell, give 50-50 or any number in between. Make sense? And then we also ask them, on a 1 to 7 scale, where 1 is not at all likely and 7 is, how likely are you to buy this wine as a gift or for you? Alright, that was a task that we gave them. Right? And let me show next slide, let's see the results. So you see two columns here. First column is the points that each of these MTurk respondent allocated to a machine generated review out of 100. Right? Second column is how likely are they to buy the wine. And we ran a regression. The key independent variable is the first row, which is because we know the actual source of the review, they don't. So the actual source of review was a dummy coded 1 or a 0. If the review source is human, right? So if these people were able to distinguish machine versus human being correctly, then the coefficient should be significantly different. But it is not statistically significantly different at all. It's not significant. They were not able to tell. In fact, if you give me the test now, even I would fail that test. Even though I work in that, and I'll show you some examples of that. And the other thing is, the second column, even the purchase likelihood, how likely are you to buy it? Even that is not significantly different. That means they were equally likely to buy the wine, whether the review was written by a human being or a machine. This is truly a Turing-like test that machines are able to write reviews that are as good as human beings. Let me show you some examples. Thank you. I tell you, this table, this is from the paper, this table single-handedly landed the paper in the top journal. In fact, the journal editor just wrote to me and says, Praveen, we would like to interview you on this and highlight it in our journal. In fact, the British Broadcasting Corporation ran a story on that last month. Food and Wine ran a story on that. And Scientific American ran a story on that. And the local radio station ran a story as well. And Dartmouth College ran a story. This is truly very good, I think. Next slide. So here are some examples. Ask yourself, whether you will tell the difference. This again the wines in the test set. So the human review. Though an herbal note shows on both the nose and the finish, the Shiraz is still very good. It is fairly full and creamy in the mouth with black cherry vanilla flavors, and a drying element that adds complexity, and it smells just as yummy as it tastes. Look at what the machine review wrote. There's a lot going on in this wine, from its aromas of black pepper and blackberries to its smooth, supple mouthfeel. It's not a big wine, but it's balanced and harmonious with a long mouth-watering finish. It's truly human-like. Next one. Here's another example. I just randomly picked this human review. Lime zest and grassy herb notes infuse freshness into this dry, light-footed Riesling. It's particularly sprightly in feel, a crush of tart, white grapefruit and pineapple flavors, but it penetrates long on the finish, accented by a kiss of citrus blossoms. Drink now, 2017. Machine says, while the nose is a bit closed, the palate of this off-bright Riesling is chock full of juicy white grapefruit and tangerine flavors. It's not a deeply concentrated wine, but it's a balanced neatly by a strike of lemon-lime acidity that lingers on the finish. Even I'm just surprised, how the heck is doing it, and it's pretty the transformer architecture, and I'm always by that. Next one. The third one. An interesting and fruit-forward Cape blend composed of 57% Pinot Noir, 23% Shiraz, 14% Cab Sauv, and 6% Merlot. Kirsch and red plum, along with subtle accents of rubber and tar, fill the profile, soft and quite easygoing, with low tannins and a short finish. Machine. A blend of 60% Cabernet Sauvignon, 30% Merlot, and 10% Syrah. This is an easy drinking red that's ready to drink now. In fact, this machine was able to figure out Pinot Noir is also a type of red wine, and Cabernet Sauvignon is also a type of red wine. So we added the two and gave all the 60% to Cabernet. Next one. Human review. Like the label says, it's sweet as a dessert pastry. It's also simple with thin flavors of sugared oranges and vanilla. Machine says, sweet and simple with apricot, orange, and vanilla flavors. It's amazing how human-like it is, and so no wonder these MTurk folks were not able to distinguish between the two. Next slide. And so what we have done here is, I said, let's look at the words that the machine is using in the test set, and the words that the humans were using. And with the yellow highlighted the commonality of the words. As you can see, there is a lot of commonality in the words that the machine used in the test set based on the learning it had. Next slide. And here, we wanted to test the boundaries of it, and I'm not going to go through this. Suffice it to say, what we wanted to say is, what is the minimum number of observations that we need? And it turns out we need about at least 100,000 observations. So at 100,000 lower point, the reviews are still fine, but not that great. But if you go below, the learning, at the end, machine needs to learn. Machine needs to learn. For learning, you need to have about 100,000. Next slide. And in this one, remember the metadata that I mentioned, we had 11 product attributes, we reduced it to 4. Even at 4, it is giving decent reviews, but if you go below 4, the performance goes down really badly. So I think the minimum attributes, I would say, is about 4. So even with 4, look at how human-like reviews that it is able to write. Next slide. So as I said, this is the second use case of information overload, where you have lots of reviews, and the question is, can the machine summarize reviews for us? So this, the other category that my friend here, Vasu, likes is from here, and that's why I chose it. It's a website called ratebeer.com, and ratebeer.com has reviews of all the beers in the world. So we were able to collect about 142,000 reviews there. Of various beers by different people, and here is an example. These are all, let's say, these are 10 reviews that people wrote for a particular beer. And the right hand side, you can see the summary. It says, draft pours a clean amber body with a small off-white head, aromas of citrus, florals, and caramel, flavors of citrus, caramel, malt, and white hops. And you'll see the words that it is using have overlap with these reviews, and that's what we want to test. How good is this summary? Right? Next slide. So again, we went back to the Amazon MTurks folks. This time we chose about 750 of them, and I'll tell you in a minute why we chose 750. And so we have about 40,000 beers, and we trained it on 90% of the data, and we selected about 70 beers. So each beer has about 10 reviews. So we have 700 reviews total, 10 for each beer, right? And then after the training, in this test set, we asked the machine to summarize the reviews for these for the set of 70 beers, right? So we have 700 reviews and 70 summarizations of these 70 beers, right? And the task we gave to MTurks is, hey, we want you to tell us on a 1 to 7 scale to what extent this summary captures the ideas in the individual reviews pretty well or not. 1 is not, it doesn't capture at all. 7 is captures the ideas very well. But here is the trick that we played. Even though all the 70 summaries were written by the machine, for 250 of them, we told them that the summarization was done by a machine. And for another third of them, we told them the summarization was done by a beer enthusiast, by a human being. And for a third of them, we did not tell them anything. That's a control condition. And we want to see if that has an effect, even though all of them were written by the machine. Next slide. So since clearly an individual cannot look at all the reviews because they have to look at 10 reviews for each beer and summarization, we ran it for each of these MTurk person. We gave them three beers and we told them for each beer read these 10 reviews and read the summary and tell us on a 1 to 7 scale to what extent this summary captures the ideas presented in the individual reviews. Making sense? Right? And you can tell the mean is very high, 4.67. The midpoint of the scale is 4. 4.67 is significantly higher than even 4.5. It says that it actually captures very well. But look at what happens when we told them the summary is done by a machine. People don't like it. If you tell them that it's done by a human being, rating is much higher, it's about 4.8. This raises some ethical issues. If let's companies like Amazon were to use this technology, they have an incentive to say that this summarization has been done by a human being, even though it's done by a machine. But I will leave it to my ethics colleagues to think about that issue. But my job is to at least highlight that as consumers, we don't like machine written reviews, even though they do a good job. We have I think we have, as human beings, I think we have a love-hate relationship with machines. We love them, we can't live without them, we can't live with them. Next slide. So here is an example. Again, this is a test set. Here are, all these 10 reviews, right? Post pitch black, the tan head, rows of degrees, and so on. But look at how nice the summary is. Sample at Copenhagen Beer Festival, nice set with good duration, color is black, aroma and taste are roast malt, chocolate, coffee, and hops. So, you yourself can make out that the words that the machine is using in its summary are picked up very well from each of the individual reviews. And with all this effort, I can honestly say that, I gained the respect of my computer science colleagues. Thank you. Thank you. In fact, Dan Rockmore, he's a great guy, and he was commenting. He says, Praveen, when we started the project, because there's a first cross-campus collaboration, which is what I would urge Professor Ravinder to do this on. He says, I wasn't sure how this was going to go. But he says, I love your enthusiasm, so I went with it. And then he says, Praveen, we are a great team to work together. Let's do more projects. Can you find some funding for Keith Carlson just defended his doctoral thesis. He says, can you find some funding for Keith to be a postdoc under you in marketing in the business school? I said, let me give it a shot. I went to my dean. You won't believe it. This all happened within 5 days. Within 5 days, I was able to secure $100,000 funding for him as a postdoc under me. And he just started three weeks ago and looking at newer projects. Really, truly excited. And as I said, I truly meant it, and I said the future lies in this collaboration with computer science, engineering, business, and humanities. That's where the power lies, and that's why universities exist. Next slide. So, I hope I was able to convince you, at least reasonably so, that machines can write product reviews in human-like fashion, truly passing the Turing test. And that there has a lot of applications for these new products or products or services without any reviews. That this technology can provide a quote-unquote unbiased view. Unbiased view in the sense, it's funny, we have a professor called Gene at the engineering school. And Gene's focus is on identifying fake reviews. Fake. And he comes up to me and says, Praveen, you guys are making my job so difficult that, I want to be, if your technology is writing reviews like this, I will not be able to identify fake reviews. You know what I told him? Gene, these are not fake reviews. These are unbiased reviews. Fake reviews are when a company pays someone to write a positive review for that company or a negative review for a competitor. See, our reviews could be positive or negative. It's based on learning. What the machine does is it learns from all other products like that and gives its best estimate. Just like us, if you ask me, if there's no review product, what do you think of this product? I would say I have no idea. But the machine can understand all the products like that are similar to that and say, hey, here's my best guess. Take it or leave it. I already said it's unbiased. If it's positive, it's positive for a reason. If it's negative, it's negative for a reason. But the machine will not make it positive or negative on its own randomly, right? So that's why there's that one application, right? And the second one is, review synthesis. There are lots of the product with thousands of reviews. Even I don't have the time or the energy. It's solving that problem, provide the summary. So next slide. So I want to show you a quote from our machine. It says, to be clear, I am not a person. I am not self-aware. I am not conscious. I cannot feel pain. I do not enjoy anything. I am a cold calculating machine designed to simulate human response and to predict the probability of certain outcomes. The only reason I am responding is to defend my honor. This is the quote from the machine. I thought. As you're all sitting here, aspiring, one thing I want you to think about is, what do you want your legacy to be? In my case, I don't want my legacy to be the papers that I publish or the awards that I get or the positions I'm in or the speeches like this that I get. I want my legacy. I want to share with you my legacy, which is a note that our daughter Divya wrote when she was in 4th grade. And for 12 years, my job was to, take our daughter to school, drop off. School starts at 8 o'clock, 7:45, we leave home, 15-minute car ride. We laugh, we fight, but great conversation, those 15 minutes are precious. And the night before, every night, I help her with her homework. And this one morning when I was dropping her off, she says, Dad, there was assignment that's due today. I didn't tell you that for a particular reason. But then I said, can you show me? Then she said, here is that the teacher asked all of us to write, and here is what I wrote. And I was really struck by what she wrote. And clearly there was no copying machine and an old cell phone, so I just took a picture with my cell phone and I sent off. I just want to share that with you. Next slide. We're not reading, let me read to you. It says, America is a great country. Opportunities await and dreams come true. This fails to happen in small places like where my dad grew up. That's why my dad worked very hard to come see this paradise, America. My dad grew up in Hyderabad, India. He lived in a small colony called Medipatna. Like many small towns in India, it was very hard to find good schools. But somehow they found a school. It was called Sunrise School. The building is shabby and the tuition is only 25 cents. But my dad told me that he learned a tremendous amount of information there. My dad goes on from here to the period of success. My dad never gives up and always focuses on the task at hand. If he fails at something, he will try 100% harder the next time. With this attitude, my dad is invincible. I look up to my dad because if I ever try to live up to what he has done now, he will probably have done 100 more successful things for me to live up to by then. Thank you. And one last thing I want to leave you with, there's something that I read in the art section of New York Times when I was in the MBA program at IIM Bangalore. And it's called, next slide. It's called The Station by Robert Hastings. And it's really, it helped me stay grounded. And actually, Robert Hastings passed away, and I called his family. And they own the rights to it, but they gave me full rights to share it in any platform that I am in. It was unconditional copyright that the family of Hastings, that's why I'm sharing it with you. Next slide. It's called The station, tucked away in our subconscious and idyllic vision, we see ourselves on a long trip that spans the continent. We are traveling by train. Out the windows, we drink in the passing scene of cars on nearby highways, of children waving at a crossing, of cattle grazing on a distant hillside, of smoke pouring from a power plant, of row upon row of corn and wheat, of flatlands and valleys, of mountains and rolling hillsides, of city skylines and village halls. Next slide. But uppermost in our minds is the final destination. On a certain day at a certain hour, we will pull into the station, bands will be playing and flags waving. Once we get there, so many wonderful views will come through, and the pieces of our lives will fit together like a jigsaw puzzle. How restlessly we place the eyes, counting the minutes for loitering, waiting for the station. When we reach the station, there'll be a big cry. When I'm 18, when I buy a 450 SM Mercedes Benz, when I put the last kid through college, when I paid off the mortgage, when I get a promotion, when I reach the age of retirement, I shall live happily ever after. Next. There's no. The next slide is it? One more. Keep on going. No, go forward. No, you're going back, go forward. In the meantime, the last slide? Okay. Looks like it. Let me find it here because just give me a second. Thanks to the iPhones. I have it. Sorry. So when I reach the age of retirement, I will go to the next step. So it says, the station is only a dream, it constantly outdistances us. So my dear friends, sooner or later, we must realize that there is no station, no one place we arrive at once and for all. The true joy of life is a trip. The station is only a dream. It constantly outdistances us. So stop pacing the aisles and counting the miles. Instead, climb more mountains, eat more ice cream, go barefoot more often, swim more rivers, watch more sunsets, laugh more, cry less. Life must be lived as we go along. The station will come soon enough. Thank you. Thank you. As promised, we have some time for 10 minutes for questions. So how do you want to handle the questions? Is there a mic or something that they can come in? There's a mic. Just yeah, question here. The mic, take the mic and speak in the mic.
So my doubt was that don't you think we're now like depending on machines a little bit too much? That now our opinions on products is going on machines. Okay, I understand it's non-biased and stuff, but the human opinion is again relying on another machine.
I agree, yeah, great question. I love that question. But the thing is, that's why, folks, can you show the first slide, the picture that I have? Go to the first slide. See the beauty, what we are question implicitly, we are trying. We should not pick machine against human being. It's when machines and human beings work together.